The automobile with Night Danger. There's been a confluence of influences, a convergence of multiple variables that has congealed into a single horrible wriggling mass inside my mind. I like my games to be funny. I like laughing at the table with my friends. And I've often thought, if comedy can be emulated at the table the way that horror is in a game like Call of Cthulhu, if I can intentionally structure a game to be scary, can I intentionally structure a game to be funny? And I think I've had a breakthrough on this. I've been reading a lot of Discworld lately, a lot of the Night Watch books, and Ankh-Morpork and Discworld in general is a funny world. They're funny books. But the characters aren't trying to be funny. They're not intentionally participating in gags. In fact, often they're fairly straight-shooting, normal characters. Normal being a relative term here. But they're funny by virtue of the absurdity of the world they live in. The world they occupy is funny, and therefore their behavior in response to that world is funny. Black Lodge Games, this is the second variable, has been shilling their upcoming product, the Shucked Oyster. And they've been shilling it as a very funny module, but not funny in a pop culture reference, slapstick, table, ha-ha kind of way, but rather that the characters all have convincing in-world motivations, verisimilitudinous ideations about what they want to do, and the way that these converge and interact with the game world is itself funny. And the example that they use to explain this is what would happen if you played a game like Paranoia, and you played it straight. You didn't treat it as a big gaffe, as a big campy romp, and instead tried to think in terms of how would a character in this world, with this set of parameters, with these rules, with these expectations, how would this character behave? And if you played it straight, you would almost certainly get a funnier result than if you were to simply goof off and wink at the camera all the time. The Discworld listening and this rumination on Paranoia, which I first heard when Black Lodge was on Bacon Gaming, two lovely channels, you should check them both out. But this is it. This is, I think, a breakthrough that I needed to start thinking about comedy in games. The goal very much should not be to create mechanical incentives for humor the way that something like Call of Cthulhu creates mechanical incentives for horror, with its sanity mechanic and so on and so forth. Horror is not like comedy. Horror can be emulated mechanically and incentivized mechanically. But comedy comes from the game world. And in this sense, you don't need a dedicated system to produce a comedic game. What you need is a good setting splat book. You need an environment, a game world that is funny in and of itself, that the players can then interact with earnestly and sincerely, with reasonable and, I'm going to say it again, verisimilitudinous motivations. And if a normal person interacts with an absurd world, this will produce funny results. I mean, this is like Monty Python 101. An absurd person interacting with a normal world is funny, and a normal person interacting with an absurd world is funny. But players can't be trusted to make reasonably absurd characters, and I think it would pull them out from an immersion perspective. So it's better to have them play reasonably normal characters in a bizarre and absurd world. Yeah, I think I'm clicking onto something very exciting here. Expect further developments concurrent with investigative game investigations, comedy, and cops. Finding my lane in where I want to devote my creative energies and my precious little hobby time. Yeah, this has been Night Danger in the automobile, having himself just a beautiful day. The corn is coming in high, and that's how I know that autumn is just around the corner. Pretty soon, I'm not going to need to wear shorts. I'm going to need to wear hoodies. And that makes me happy. I've had just about enough of this humidity. Hope you all have a lovely day. And I'll see you all later.